Hello, rating daddies. What's up? We're back once again. I just want one question before we get into the review. Well, how does the MCU keep getting away with it? How do they get away with it?
It's kind of infuriating how many times they're going to do it. Like, it's a good thing.
It's a great thing.
They keep doing it. And they keep getting away with it.
They can't get away with it!
That's it. You know what, Marvel? We're done with you making great movies. Give us a stinker. That's all we want. That's all the world wants. Except for I don't.
Hello everyone, we're back for another Marvel review, and we've watched Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, and what a movie this is. We have to explain it first before we review it.
There's scenes, there's lighting, there's some camera work.
There's some punching. Definitely a
I
lot
was
of
just
kicking.
describing a movie.
Yeah, there's editing
What
as
a
well.
movie. Editing.
There's probably a
sound design.
director.
Probably
things.
a director.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure 100% of all movies have a director. Speaking of directors, this was directed by Destin Daniel Cretton, who we know from Short Term 12 and Just Mercy. This has a huge cast. I have all the names listed here, but Simu Liu plays Shang-Chi, obviously. Awkwafina plays Katie. Tony Leung plays Shang-Chi's dad.
Best part of the movie.
Michelle Yeoh plays his auntie. There's Tim Roth is in this for a cup of coffee.
He screams and goes home.
Yep, he literally is like, that's the easiest paycheck I could ever have. If you don't know anything about Shang-Chi, basically he's just a dude living in San Francisco, and he doesn't want to fulfill his destiny that his father wants him to fulfill. And that's the drama of the movie. Their mother dies, and we have to figure out what's happening. Why does the father want Shang-Chi to come back?
And the dad's not a great dude. Kind of
Not
like a criminal, pretty much. And it's like this kind of moral, it's like this fight with morality, but also this like family drama. And man,
Yeah.
I
And
love it.
It hit hard.
Yeah, it's one of those movies where it's like the father has changed because he met the love of his life, but it's also martial arts and just like very beautiful Chinese opera style.
With a little Jackie Chan sprinkled in there. I mean, it's so, this movie, man, I messaged you guys afterwards. I was like, I think this is like one of my favorites.
It's mainly because it's just like Black Panther or Guardians of the Galaxy, where it just feels so unique. And like it's a Marvel movie, but also like this is like a kung fu, like as you said, family drama.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
We're 7 movies into this thing. We're 4 shows now
Yeah.
into this universe. And how are they gonna get me with another origin story? And it just like, and they do, and you see the similarities to like Black Panther, and that's okay. But I love Black Panther, but like this one just had something. I love that, and it's nothing against Black Panther. I love that balance of like that his like. What if Black Panther's dad also like was not a great guy and didn't hand over the reins and treated his son poorly, and like I just love that.
Also kung fu.
And the
Lots of kung fu.
martial arts. I mean, like this movie, like there were moments in this movie. I mean, because that's probably where all like the standout moments is like all the fighting, which is a lot, and you're just like, oh, what?
Yeah.
Like, oh, there was a moment where I was like, oh, I'm gonna go use the bathroom now, and then like they started fighting, like, I'm going.
I think I'm good.
The bus scene is just like a love letter to Rumble in the Bronx. There's a love letter to like the Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon type of movies.
5 minutes in.
There's like love letters to Wong Kar-wai. I mean, obviously Tony Leung's been in a few of his movies. It's just a love letter entirely to Hong Kong cinema.
Yeah.
Like the old school movies we grew up watching as kids, but also like the stuff that people don't know about either. It's just an amazing movie that full of action, full of heart, buttload of heart.
But
Guys, the buttload meter would just be like breaking through the roof. I love it so much. I don't know about Zach, but Michael and I we're like, okay, Awkwafina, another like sidekick fun character. Am I gonna be driven crazy by this? And honestly, I wasn't. There were moments, really, she gets like some of the biggest laughs to me.
She is the MCU trope. Her character is.
Yes.
There's always the quirky character that's the sidekick,
Yeah.
and she elevates it beyond that, and the story helps her too. And like she is just like a do nothing person, and then at the end she does something.
They give the quirky character an arc.
Well, but also, and we'll get to it in spoilers, but I just kind of love like where this thing ends of like they go through this huge journey and then they're kind of just still the same a little bit. Like they
You're right.
They
They
grow
do.
internally and they're like, you know what, we're better people for this, but like we don't see them like later. It's just fun. I think I just like how like it's somehow this movie has like crazy kung fu, some other crazy stuff we'll get into, and then you're just like kind of the most grounded movie of the MCU to me. I don't know, like
Bruce Banner is back. There's
we're going like all the way to the end of this movie.
Yeah,
The last thing.
I think you have to start with that.
Okay, yeah, Bruce Banner's back. No Hulk, and they don't really nail down the timeline, but you assume that there's a mention of everyone being snapped away, and then so you assume that this is months, if not like a year after Endgame.
Right, because he's got the sling.
He's got the sling, and you
sling
still
on.
assume he's still healing. But yeah, no Hulk.
Yeah,
What happened?
I think that's
Where'd
going
he
to
go?
tie into She-Hulk.
That's my guess too.
Obviously, yeah.
There is a storyline from the comics that happened, so we'll see. I don't know. It's a lot of questions. I'm excited for. Obviously, Brie Larson has the connection to the director,
Yes.
so obviously she'd easily be like, "I'm in." But I like how they treat her, like her saving the entire universe as like a joke.
Yeah.
They're like, she always does this.
She's just busy.
Well, and you start to think like, okay, like they brought in Captain Marvel, and and then you start to realize, okay, like their shows are coming up, their movies are they're starting to work on their movies, but also like it's about the 10 rings. Like, okay, where do these things come from? And it makes sense. You're like, oh, okay, like space, gamma radiation.
And there's a beacon. So when Shang-Chi activates the 10 rings or something, a beacon starts blipping off. And we don't know what it is. There's a lot of theories that we could have. I mean, Galactus is like the one that jumps to my mind.
That's what I think.
And it could be the new Thanos, the long play to the next big movie. I know we have Kang. So that's our first stop. But this could be something to even bigger than him.
Yeah,
So
I think that's what that is.
this movie has made Iron Man 3 watchable because now we know.
I wouldn't say that.
Well, no, but it does make it less terrible because it takes the stereotype that was in Iron Man 3 and just like sort of flips it on its head and it's like, look, Trevor Slattery is back and he's been captured by the real Mandarin.
Yeah, he's back better than ever.
Even though this Mandarin is like, no, I'm Wenwu, I'm not the Mandarin.
Yeah.
So I like that about that, and it just like. He's just like, you see him show up and he just like takes over the movie for like 10 minutes.
I thought it was going to be a little cameo. He's like, oh, he's coming with them.
Yeah.
He's going.
It addresses appropriation. It addresses like, you know, what we do. Even though like Iron Man 3 they were trying to stay away from stereotypes. They then, you know, create appropriation. And that Marvel's bold enough to be like, yeah, you know what?
We messed up.
And now we're making it a plot point, and then you're like, oh, and now this dude is here, and it's like so bonkers. And at first I was like, huh? I mean, like I knew it made sense, but I mean a very like Tropic Thunder-esque thing too.
It
Like,
was, yes. Like,
he's just
meta.
performing, but yeah, it's great, and he's talking to some weird faceless creature. So
That's right.
Just like, that thing's gonna sound like hotcakes.
Got to sell those plushies.
there is a third act in this. That, like, if you're tired of talking about like blue beams in the sky and all that nonsense, like this thing is nuts. Like what you're like, you're like, okay, well here we go. He did it, and then you're like, oh, okay, we're still going. Oh, like that is bonkers. Whoa, what's happening? You're kind of like, all of it is just like, it's so visceral and like so like in your face that you're like, what am I even? You're like,
They're like Chinese folklore. Okay, I'll put all of it in the movie. They're like all of it, and Kevin Feige is like all of it, and then they're like all of it.
Please.
they're like, yeah, but like you're gonna introduce it like halfway through the movie. Like, no,
No.
like this thing has like 20 minutes left.
Out of 10, how many rings would you give this movie?
I'm gonna go high. I'm gonna go like, just watching this movie knew I was watching something special, at least for me, and I loved it. And I was gonna go like 9 out of 10 rings. I mean, this movie, I cannot I cannot wait to like go again, take other people, see, like wait for Disney Plus. Like I will like run this thing to the ground probably, honestly.
So picture 10 rings on me. Take 2 off. 8 rings. I don't know. It is fun. It's unique. I do want to watch it again. I had the opposite reaction to the climax. I thought it was way too much. Like it looks awesome. It's just like whenever you have like super emotional things contrasted with him riding a dragon and then punching another dragon.
Yeah, I would go 8 out of 10. Really liked it. I love the martial arts. I love the father, son, daughter thing. Dad things just get you emotional now. As a
I
dad.
know.
It's just like, I was like, oh man, I kind of feel for Wenwu a little bit. He's a terrible person, but he's making the choice he thought was right.
He gave everything up and lost everything, Michael.
I love that he is basically a Spider-Man villain. He's a guy who was once bad, then became good, but then became bad again. It's the classic Mr. Freeze. It's like he's doing the thing that he thinks is right, but it's not right.
And we won't get much on this. The soundtrack,
It's very fun.
I can't wait to like they released it, I think, today.
Mm-hmm.
I can't wait to listen to it. Got Anderson .Paak, got Sway Lee.
The Eagles?
I love the vibe of that. That it's like it's martial arts, it's hip hop. It's like it's just like it's so much fun. It's just like a bunch of cool things just like crammed in there.
Whatever the song was playing during the train scene, I was like,
Yeah.
was being
And there's a
along to it.
guy with a razor arm.
Certified lover boy. We're out.
Un esercito di prole